Well, hello there. Thanks for joining me today. It's Froggy Friday. After all this time, I still get ridiculously excited for Froggy Friday. And this week, no exception. I have these really cool little chipboard tropical pieces. I have a whole bunch of them. Could not tell you where I got them. I'm so sorry. But I sort of rediscovered them when my craft room was in disarray after having our floors redone. And I wanted to make something cool for Froggy Friday with these leaves. So we are making tropical Frogger earrings. These are going to be large earrings, as you can tell, and I'm totally good with that. I'm all about tropical vibes, neon colors, all that good stuff. So I will be happy to wear these earrings. And speaking of tropical vibes, I wanted to make it look a little bit like a tropical sunset. So I'm using pink, orange, and yellow Posca pens. I do try to blend them in between. However, this chipboard is not sealed, so it pretty much just soaks the paint right up, and it's a little difficult to blend. I don't do a very good job of it. I'm not mad at it. I think it still looks cool. I will also be using those cute little green frog figurines in the upper right hand corner. I continue the sunset look on the back. It doesn't look quite as cool as it does on the front of it, but it looks all right, and I just didn't want it to be plain chipboard. I realize I keep calling this chipboard, and I think it's actually not called chipboard. Someone let me know in the comments. I feel like I'm using the wrong term for that, but it's basically very thin balsa wood. You can actually cut this with a Cricut if you have a Maker or a Maker 3 or the Maker 4. I don't know if you can cut it with the Cricut Explorer. I'm not sure. I've only ever had the Maker. But these were done with, obviously, like a laser tool. I wanted to put some green on here because at this point I was still expecting to leave these frogs green. And I just wanted to do a very little bit around the edges. At this point, I'm like, well, you can't even see this. What's the point? But you can see it enough that I did have to keep going. Weird leaf dance coming up in just a moment. That was so weird. What the hell did I just do? Anyhow, I continue on with my green outline, and I don't color the entirety of the side. I actually just do the little edge. I do really like the way this looks, but I could have gotten away with not doing this and it would have looked just fine. So in order to seal this in, I will be giving it several good coats of UV resin on both the back and the front, and I do also go over the edges where I put that green pen. Since this wood is unfinished, it does create a lot of bubbles in the UV resin, so I do let it sit for quite a while, and I also use my long neck lighter like you see there to go over it and make sure I'm getting rid of those bubbles before I cure it. And this will get a full 3-minute cure on both sides, and I do an extra 3-minute cure for the edges as well. Now it's time to paint our little froggers. I'm using a light orange, kind of a, I don't know, looks like a papaya color to me. That sounds good. Do you like tropical fruit? I love tropical fruit. But I give these a couple of coats, let them dry, and then I just go in with the glitter. Glitter is life. In order to adhere the glitter, I am using UV resin, and I start off using this little spatula tool because I was worried if I used a paintbrush, I would accidentally sort of lift off a bunch of the paint that was there, and while it doesn't cover well, I didn't want to undo the work I had done. My subsequent coats of glitter go on with a little disposable paintbrush. I love these little things. They're fantastic for UV resin because you don't have to worry about ruining a good one. This color of glitter is so pretty. It's from the neon set from Glitter Heart Co. And I do have a code for a discount for you in my description, but it's called Tangerine Dream, and it is just the most perfect sort of light tangerine color I think I've ever seen. And now I'm going in and I'm sealing the edges. I have no idea why I chose to wait until this point to do it, but I guess it hadn't crossed my mind yet. Once the glitter is on the frogs and I've sealed it in with some UV resin, it's time for our next step, and I need to find a way to hang these. So I'm opening up some jump rings and I'm sort of fitting them over the branch part of this leaf, and I will use UV resin to tack that in place. I do several coats of this around the edges of the jump ring just to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. I also need to find a way to hang the little froggies, and again I'm going to use jump rings. I'm just UV resining. I just made a verb out of that. That's not a word, but now it is. It's a verb. I'm UV resining the jump rings onto the tops of the frogs. It's never a dull moment in my brain. I could just say that. Anyhow, I'm using more jump rings to attach the frog. I had to look at that really well for a moment and think, is it facing the right way? I always have problems with that when I attach things with jump rings. I have these little heart charms as well, and I picked out 2 orange ones to go with it. I love the way these look with the leaf. And then it's just time to attach the earring wire. Froggy Friday is a weekly amphibian collaboration hosted by Lisa from Girl in the Garage, Karen from the Dragon's Cave, Lula from Nerd Goblin Art, Tim the Bass Resonator, and Kel from Gert Creates. As always, the playlist is in my description. Go watch those other videos when you're done with mine. I have to say that while I was finishing these, I was listening to a podcast about true crime that I haven't listened to before, and it's called Murderish. If you like true crime and you haven't listened to this, I highly recommend it. Jamie is fantastic, and I love the way she talks about these stories. She has great insight, personal anecdotes, and it's just a ton of fun to listen to. I highly recommend it. After I was done, of course, I wasn't satisfied because, well, I'm me. So I decided to give the froggy some eyes. Of course, I covered them up when I painted and put glitter. And I just wanted that little extra detail. I did a fantastically poor job of it, but hey, they have eyes. And I do seal that in with UV resin so the paint doesn't eventually come off. Pro tip when using neon glitter: accidentally shine a black light on your clothes to see just how much glitter you dumped on yourself during your craft. I'm basically always wearing glitter because of the fact that I craft with it so often, but it was fun to see under a black light. How fun, colorful, and tropical are these? I love these froggy earrings and I can't wait to wear them. I really like the way these look while wearing them. I don't think they're too big. Do you? I hope you like them, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks for hopping by. I'll see you soon.